Hi, I am Jen Wilson, the Healing Rebel. Welcome to this week's podcast. This week brought a whole other battery of challenges. I woke up on Monday morning with fatigue. I'd had a 9-hour sleep. I woke up and just thought, oh dear Lord, breathing's difficult. What has happened? Why do I feel this way? I did spend a couple of minutes going, how is this possible? Thinking about what did I eat yesterday and the day before? What have I done the last couple of days? Where does this fatigue come from? And there's nothing particular that's jumped out that made me think, oh, that was it. That's where I've burned through the energy. It was what it was. So I was in acceptance. Thank you, Avril, for teaching me about acceptance and how to get there and how to do that. And then put a plan into place. What am I going to do today to help me recover from this fatigue? First thing was, I'm in bed, let's do some breath work, because breathing felt difficult. It felt like my lungs just didn't have the energy to even expand. But I know that I needed more oxygen in my body. I know that I needed that flood of oxygen to get round. And without that breath, without that diaphragmatic breath, everything was going to move slower. Everything was going to be sluggish. And a sluggish body becomes a sick body. And I only did maybe a minute of the diaphragmatic breathing just to get that expansion and contraction to get things started. While I was doing that, I was doing my lymphatic drainage. I was clearing the terminal points, I was clearing my neck, I was clearing across the chest, just getting things moving, helping my body where I can. When you've got fatigue, like the mental brain fog of, I can't even think how to say this word, is brutal. So clearing out that lymphatic fluid that's congested in your head, especially when you wake up in the morning, you can feel really foggy. You've been lying still for quite a number of hours. So getting all those fluids moving with the breath work, really gentle. Drinking lots of fluids. When I'm fatigued, I always feel dehydrated, even though I've drank plenty of fluids the day before. Still, I'm like, oh, goodness. So getting plenty of fluids in, making sure that there was Celtic sea salt in my water. I had my warm lemon with salt in it, because your body will absorb in more water with that salt. The benefits of the vitamin C from the lemon water. The fulvic minerals that I add into my water to give me more mineral content, to give, again, make the water that structured water. I've talked about hydration before on the podcast many times, about having that structured water, having valuable minerals in there that your body can take on board and utilize. And when you're not well, when you're when you've got fatigue, when you're living with chronic illness, autoimmune conditions, your body will be depleted in minerals, and you might not know, because you can get a blood test done and all of them are in the quote unquote normal ranges, but they might not be normal for you. So taking these minerals on, your body knows what to use and what to excrete. So add that fulvic mineral water in. I then had a protein shake. So I kept most of my food on Monday as liquids. So I had a protein shake, add collagen and creatine into the protein powder that I use. Doesn't have any artificial sweeteners. It doesn't have any, doesn't have whey protein, which doesn't agree with my stomach. It's a vegan blend. I use Vivo Life protein powder. The can't remember, pro plant something. It's got digestive enzymes. It's got turmeric, black pepper, BCAAs, which are your branched chain amino acids, and it's a hemp and rice pea protein blend, which means that you're getting a full amino acid like the full spectrum of amino acids in that powder. It's really easy on my digestive system. My body is quite happy to drink it. Doesn't taste, a lot of these protein powders are disgusting. This one does not taste disgusting, I don't think, personally, because I've tried lots of them. Some of them are super sweet because they've all got artificial sweeteners added to them. This one doesn't, so for me, it's a really nice taste. The creatine has been shown recently in women's health studies that for menopausal women, taking up to 5 grams of creatine a day really helps with brain fog. Creatine's been used for years and years in the fitness world, particularly with bodybuilders, to help with recovery of muscles. But the studies recently for women can also help with bone density, really important for women. So I take 3 grams of creatine a day. I've tried 5 grams and I just feel bloated and a bit yucky on it. So I reduced it down to 3. 3 works lovely for me. It's perfectly safe supplement to take unless you have kidney issues. If you have kidney issues, then you need to speak to your consultant, somebody that knows about that. There has been fear around creatine over the years about it causing kidney issues. Now, the people that were getting kidney issues were taking a lot of creatine. Like, they were doing, bodybuilders used to do this loading thing where they would take like 35, 40, 50 grams of creatine a day for a period of time. And then they were meant to do that for a period of time and then take a break. And they weren't taking the break. And they were just smashing this creatine in all the time. If you take too much of anything, it's going to cause problems in your body. So you're always wanting to find that sweet spot, and it's better to take less than more. Now, if you already eat a lot of meat, then you possibly don't even need to add any creatine in. But if you're struggling with brain fog, it's worth trying it to see if it makes any difference. So I have that, and then I made a smoothie. So I have my milk kefir, and I added all my fiber points in, so my flaxseed and my chia seeds and my raw oats and my fruits, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. What else did I add in there? I think that was all I added in, and I blended it up into a smoothie to make it easier, just a bit easier to drink. And then I had some soup. And then later on that night, when I was feeling a wee bit better, I had solid food. I was at my mum's and I had lasagna, homemade lasagna, which was very nice. And the reason I had most of my food as fluid is the digestive process uses a lot of energy. When you're eating food and your body's got to break it down into the small particles so that it can be absorbed into your body, that is a very energy depleting thing that goes on in your body. So if you are struggling with fatigue, you want to take out all those energy expending things that go on in the day, that go on in your body, to really help support the body, just to give it a bit of a rest. I did do some movement, but not exercise. So some twists and turns of the spine, some pelvic tilts. Again, that helps get the blood moving, helps get the lymphatic fluids moving to help clean out the body, clean out the toxins. Having some big stretches up, so just creating space in my body for the fluids to move, for the fluids to flow. I read, because for me that's something that's very calming, very soothing, is just reading books, even though I'm reading about crime and murder. It is all fiction, but I do like a good old crime fiction book. That for me just helps get out of my head and helps my body relax. If you are struggling with fatigue, if you are living with a chronic illness where fatigue is something that's coming in, have a look at what you're doing for your recovery plan. If you're trying to push on, I'll sleep later, I'll rest later, that's going to cause you more problems. Exercise is not recommended at all if you are struggling with fatigue, because it's burning out your nervous system, it's burning through all the energy that your body needs just to function. So if you're then adding exercise in and just pushing through because I want to feel strong or I want to whatever, you're actually doing yourself more harm, and it's going to take you even longer to get over that exercise. You might feel like you need the exercise for mental health. I would find something else. I would strongly suggest that you find something else to help with your mental health. A very gentle walk. Like, I did go for a very gentle walk. I was out for maybe 20 minutes, but I was like, right, I need to go back now. And then I came back and I lay down. possibly was a little bit too long, but I was already in the park and I had to get back. So I was out for however long I was out for. It's finding that edge of what can I do that doesn't knock me over the edge and make me feel worse. You will work out your own methods, your own plan. But that's what I've done. And some of the things in there that I've done, you might think, I'm going to try that myself. I'm going to give that a go and see if that works for me, because that's what I would love for you to be able to do, is find what works for you. On the healing journey, there is no textbook way of, there's no blueprint, there's no, if you do this, you're definitely going to get this outcome. And that can feel really frustrating, but I find it exciting because it's what works for me. And at different stages of your life, things are going to work differently at different times of the month. I've talked about this before. At different times of the month, different things are going to work. But just finding that thing that works for you. And I hope through this podcast and through conversations that I have with other people on this podcast that you feel inspired to take some action for yourself. It's actually just outside a residents meeting in the street with one of the local council people, and one of the ladies there was just like, yeah, I don't trust doctors, I've had bad experiences in the past, I do things for myself. And she was exploring things, and I suggested some things that she could maybe try. She's got a bit of a chest infection just now, and she's like, yes, yes. And it was this enthusiasm of, we can do so much for ourselves. We can do way more for ourselves than any doctor, any counsellor, any politician, any teacher, any parent, apart from obviously when you're an infant and you're completely dependent on your parent. But as a functioning human being, you can do so much more for yourself than anybody else can ever do for you. And I would love for you to realise that and to go, I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to try something. And you might need to come and learn from somebody like myself or somebody else that you feel drawn to learn some skills, but it's then you doing the work. I had somebody in this week who was here, lives with chronic fatigue, with many other issues, and I had suggested to her about learning some lymphatic drainage work. So we did some lymphatic drainage work. She has paralysed on one side of her face, and I checked in with her this morning to see how she was doing, and she said that the paralysed side of her face felt clearer. Amazing. Amazing. Anything that you can do that can just give that little beacon of light of hope that things are going to be better. I'm here for it. I'm here for you. If you would like to know anything about working with me, I am jenmilson.com. I will put the information in the show notes for today's podcast. If you've got any questions, any comments, any thoughts, any feedback, please do comment wherever you listen or send me a message on social media. If you have listened to something here and you think, oh, such and such, this person could use this information, please do share the podcast with them, because that's how word gets out and how we can all start to learn to take control of our own health, to help our own body heal, to feel, and I hate the word empowered because everybody's using it everywhere you turn, but for you to be empowered, you are taking back your power and saying, I am doing something for myself. And even that action makes you feel better. So please do join me on this journey, and I hope to connect with you very soon.